They're coming tantalisingly close. I've got six. I knew it was only a matter of time. Well, we found our first otter, and I'm very excited at the prospect. So the guy in the hat is here. Oh my God. Oh my God. Good morning. So it's the night after the day before. Yesterday we were out with Rob Howard Photography on his tour, and we're just retracing some of the steps that we did yesterday. And I've come to a location, and as we were driving along, out the corner of my eye, I thought it was a buzzard at first. And then I saw a whitetail and thought, it's not a buzzard, maybe it's a white-tailed seagull, and it's just a bit further away. But in my mind, I knew it was too small to be a white-tailed seagull. Well, it was a female Hen Harrier, and she has just been hunting rabbits for the best part of half an hour to the side of me, and I've been able to photograph it from out of the car, capture some video, and it has just been exhilarating. Thankfully, for the rabbit's sake, she didn't catch one. After seeing the buzzard kill the rabbit yesterday, I don't think my stomach was ready for yet another killing. She swooped several times trying to catch the rabbits, but they were well switched onto to her presence. And where they are here, there's a lot of derelict old black houses and outbuildings, so they've got plenty of places that they could dart into for cover. And it just meant that it was really, really difficult for her to be in a position to be able to capture it. But at the same time, there were two white-tailed seagulls watching her the whole time and circling over the top of us. And I'm certain, had she made a kill, those whitetails would have been in immediately and pushed her off that kill and taken it for themselves. I think that's what they were waiting for. They seemed to be circling, and then when she went down, they would come in close, and then they would back off again. And I think it was just a matter of time. If she'd have made a kill and they'd have seen it, they'd have been on that straight away. And I mean, wow, what an opportunity that would have been for a photograph. Either way, it has been magical. Absolutely magical. Magical to watch a bird that, you know, Hen Harriers are such beautiful birds. I waxed lyrical about the male yesterday, the Ghost of the Moors, and how beautiful they are. And the female is equally as beautiful in a very different way. She's brown and white with striped markings on her, and she's absolutely stunning. And what's quite incredible about the Harriers is their agility. They can twist and turn whilst they're locked onto their prey incredibly well. I'm watching the rabbits just running around now. It's like freedom. The Harrier and the eagles have gone, so they're out back enjoying themselves. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before this Harrier comes back again. So we'll sit and we'll watch and we'll just see if it comes along. So we're still on the Isle of Lewis, and I've been waiting and waiting for an opportunity to try out the ground pod. Now I spoke about the ground pod in a previous video, and how an invaluable tool it could be given the right circumstances, and I think I've got the right circumstances. I've got a beautiful white golden beach in front of me, and I've got loads of little shorebirds, and the tide is going out, and it's leaving behind a bounty of food for these shorebirds. So what I'm going to do, I've got my waterproof trousers on, waterproof jacket on, camera's going to go on the ground pod, and I'm going to go and see if I can capture some photographs of these little shorebirds. Wish me luck and come along for the journey and see what I see. So I've got really close to these birds. These birds are letting me get really, really nice and close to them. Now to achieve that, I'm having to lie in the sand. So I've got Gore-Tex trousers on, Gore-Tex jacket, because the tide is going out and this is very wet sand. And the minute you lie in it, you kind of sink into it, into a little water well. And if you didn't have waterproof clothing on, it'd be really uncomfortable. And then I'm just using the ground pod. I'm going to turn the camera around now so you can just see how that ground pod is working. And you can see that I've got the gimbal head on there, and it allows me to have the camera really close to the floor, so I'm at eye level with my subject, but I've not got the camera on the ground and I'm getting it covered in sand and dirt and horribleness. Now, when I did a review of the ground pod last time, a number of people spoke about, oh, you just need a frying pan, an upside down frying pan, and drill a hole through it and put your thread through. And I agree with you, I completely agree with you that actually an upside down frying pan will probably do exactly what you need it to. However, this has been purposely designed for this feature, and it's silky smooth on the sand. It's allowing me to slide the ground pod along and get myself into position, and it's perfectly balanced with a big lens. You know, there's no, I can, as you can see, I've let go of it. I've not got to keep my hands on it. It's not tipping over. It's absolutely perfectly balanced, and a lot of work has gone into this, into the design, making sure that the diameter of the ground pod is just as it should be, and it's allowing me to get some fantastic shots. Yes, I'd have been able to get them with a frying pan. Yes, I'd have been able to get them by just putting the camera on the floor, but this is keeping my kit nice and dry, and for me, it's just a class piece of equipment and well worth you having a look at. Now I'm going to crack on. I've got some oyster catchers to my right, and I've got more turnstone sandalling to my left, dunlin as well, I think. So it's just a case really of me deciding which ones I want to photograph and then cracking on with it. Well, that was just absolutely insane. I've been photographing turnstones. I think the turnstones now, as I've said in previous videos, and when I did the Filey Brig video, shorebirds are not my specialism. So what I'm going to do is, as these shorebirds are up on the screen, I'm going to put on the screen what birds they are, because I'm not 100% certain. Now, these actually could be ringneck plover, I think. The more I think about it, they are the ringneck plover, and they're beautiful, real nice little characters, and they're on an area of the beach that I've picked here that's got very little in the way of distraction. So it's giving me some really, really nice, simplistic photographs, minimalist photographs really, where you've just got the bird and not much around it, not much in the way of distraction, and you can really focus your attention on the beauty and the detail of this little shorebird. And then while that was going on to my left, there were 3 oyster catchers to my right that were picking their way through the shallow surf, and that presented some really nice opportunities. So I was photographing those and videoing those. I've got some video that'll definitely pop up on the screen whilst I'm talking. And they were kind of picking their way through the seaweed and the kelp as it's becoming available as the tide is moving out. And then obviously it's a public beach this, and there are dog walkers and everything else that come onto the beach, and some people came on the beach, and then the oyster catchers took flight, and that presented with some really nice opportunity. Because it's so bright and because the scene is such a bright scene, I've been shooting at 4,000th of a second. I'm shooting wide open because I want that really, really shallow depth of field that really lends itself when you're getting very low to the ground like that. And because I was shooting at 4,000th of a second, it's meant as those oyster catchers took flight over the surf, I've got some exquisite shots of them flying over. Now, the light is not brilliant, it's overcast, but actually for me, this is perfect light for photographing shorebirds. You don't want bright light. The minute you get bright light, you're struggling. You're going to get harsh light, you're going to blow your highlights, and you're going to be struggling. So this for me is just perfect. So I'm just going to crack on with this. One of the things I would say is shoot wide open, the widest open that your lens will allow you to shoot, because what you want in these photographs is minimalism. You want to have nothing in the background distracting. There is bits of kelp and seaweed on the floor, there are pebbles and things like that. You can use those to frame your subject, but really think about the composition. A lot of the time while these shorebirds are picking their way through and feeding away, as long as you're still and you lay on the ground, they're paying you no attention whatsoever. And because of that, you can really kind of take your time and think about your composition, think about everything within that frame, and making sure that everything that you want to be there is there for a reason. If not, pick a different subject with less distractions around it, and just have fun. Have fun at getting beautifully close to these birds and getting some absolutely wonderful photographs. Now, the only thing I would say when you're photographing like this, it's not comfortable to lie flat in the sand for long periods of time, and more than anything, it hurts the back of my neck. You're looking up like that all the time because you're trying to find your viewfinder. Now, I know that this camera has got a flip-up screen, and I could turn the screen so I could look through the screen. But I'm a bit old school when it comes to photographing. I can video by looking through the screen at the back, but I really struggle to just look through the back and take photographs. I like to use the eyepiece, I like to use the viewfinder. Now what I've got on my camera, and you'll be able to see it just there, is I use quite a big eye cup. And the reason that I use that big eye cup is I can put my eye to it and I can completely seal my eye off and any light coming into it through that cup. And it allows me to keep both eyes open. Now, when you use a more traditional eyepiece, if you have both eyes open, because there's light coming into this eye, that does tend to diffuse your view a little bit. Whereas when you've got it completely sealed and blacked out, I can have both open, and I've got that peripheral vision. And what that allows me to do is I can be looking through the viewfinder with my right eye, which is my dominant eye, at the subject in front of me, but in my left eye I can just keep occasionally glancing or just momentarily closing my right eye so that I can keep an eye on what's happening. Is there another bird moving in that's going to interact with it? Is that the moment that I need to be pressing the shutter? And having that vision around the outside of the frame, not just within the eyepiece, allows you to get those shots that otherwise you would probably miss because you're unaware of this second bird coming into the frame and the interaction taking place. So it's just a little tip and something that might be worth considering. And by way of contrast, what I've done to finish the session off is to go down onto the shoreline without the camera on any form of stabilisation and to shoot camera in hand and try and capture the birds in flight. If I've got anything decent, I'll pop it up on the screen now for you to see. Well, that brings us to an end of the video from the wonderful island of Lewis, and what a fantastic trip we've had. From the stunning gannets diving off the beach on the Isle of Harris, to the eagles from the area of Park, and finally on the sandy beach and taking in those wonderful shorebirds. It's certainly been a memory that will hold for a long time. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider a like and subscribe. It makes such a difference to the channel if you click that subscribe button. I release a video every Sunday evening at 8 PM, so if you don't want to miss out, click that bell icon. If you want to show that little bit of extra support, we've got a Buy Me a Coffee page. The link will be at the bottom of the page, so you can go on that website and show that support. Join me in my next video as it takes me to the wonderful Isle of Mull, where I get close encounters of multiple otters and enjoy the stunning experience of mull charters. Until next time, and from the beautiful islands of Lewis and Harris, ta-ra.